They say one act of kindness can change your life forever. But for Anna, it came at a price she never saw coming. Fired from her job for helping an elderly man, she never imagined what would happen next, or the shocking truths about her family that would unravel everything she thought she knew. Anna's story begins in the bustling city of Berlin, where she worked tirelessly as a supermarket cashier to support her family. A simple gesture of compassion turned her life upside down, setting off a chain of events that revealed secrets, changed her destiny, and ultimately brought her family back together. What happened to Anna is proof that sometimes life's greatest challenges lead to unimaginable transformations. Stay with me until the end to discover her incredible journey. At just 23 years old, Anna was no stranger to hardship. Living in Berlin, she worked as a cashier at a busy supermarket, juggling long hours and low pay just to make ends meet. Her job was demanding, but Anna approached every day with a quiet determination, knowing that her income was crucial to supporting her family. Her mother, Clara, relied on her to help cover household expenses, and her younger brother, Max, looked up to her as a role model. Though life was far from easy, Anna found solace in the belief that her hard work would one day lead to something better. But life has a way of testing even the strongest among us. It was an ordinary day at the supermarket, a steady stream of customers, beeping scanners, and the hum of small talk filling the air. Anna, as always, greeted each customer with a warm smile, hiding her exhaustion beneath a mask of professionalism. Toward the end of her shift, an elderly man approached her register. His clothes were worn, and his hands trembled slightly as he placed a few modest items on the conveyor belt: bread, milk, and a can of soup. As Anna rang up his total, the old man reached into his pocket and pulled out a handful of coins. His face fell as he realized he didn't have enough to pay. "I'm so sorry," he mumbled, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'll have to put something back." Anna's heart sank. She could see the embarrassment written all over his face, the shame in his trembling hands as he hesitated over which item to return. It was a scene she had witnessed before, but something about this moment struck her differently. She thought of her own family, of the times they had struggled to put food on the table, and the pain of watching her mother choose between necessities. Without a second thought, Anna reached into her pocket and pulled out a few euros, just enough to cover the man's bill. "It's okay," she said softly, handing the cashier next to her the money. "I've got it covered." The old man's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you," he said, his voice breaking. "Thank you so much." Anna smiled, brushing off his gratitude as she handed him his bag. She watched as he shuffled out of the store, clutching his groceries tightly, and felt a warmth spread through her chest. It wasn't much, but it was enough to make someone's day a little brighter. But what Anna didn't realize was that this small act of kindness, this seemingly insignificant gesture, was about to change her life forever. The next day, Anna arrived at work feeling a sense of quiet satisfaction. She had done the right thing, and that was all that mattered, or so she thought. It wasn't long before she was called into her manager's office, her heart sinking as she noticed the stern look on his face. "Anna," he began, his tone cold and clipped. "We need to talk about what happened yesterday." Confused, Anna nodded. "Is this about the elderly man? You broke company policy," the manager interrupted, cutting her off. "Cashiers are not allowed to pay for customers' purchases, no matter the circumstances. It's strictly forbidden." Anna was stunned. She tried to explain, to reason with him, but her words fell on deaf ears. "I was just trying to help," she pleaded. "He didn't have enough money, and it was only a few euros." The manager shook his head, his expression unyielding. "Rules are rules, Anna, and you broke them. I'm sorry, but we have to let you go." The words hit her like a punch to the gut. Fired? For helping someone in need? It felt like a cruel joke, a punishment for doing what she believed was right. Anna left the office in a daze, her mind racing with 1,000 questions. How would she tell her family? What would they do without her income? And most of all, why did doing the right thing have to cost so much? As she packed up her belongings and walked out of the store for the last time, Anna's heart was heavy with disappointment and fear. She had always believed that kindness mattered, that small acts of good could make the world a better place. But now that belief was shaken. Was it worth it? Had she made the wrong choice? Little did she know the choice she made that day was about to set off a chain of events that would change her life and her family's forever. Anna spent the evening after her dismissal in turmoil. The once familiar walls of her modest apartment now seemed to close in on her. She replayed the incident at the supermarket in her mind, questioning whether her decision to help had been a mistake. Her mother, a woman hardened by years of struggle, tried to console her. "Sometimes doing the right thing comes with a cost," she said softly. But her words offered little comfort. The weight of her family's financial struggles felt heavier than ever. They needed her job, her paycheck. How would they survive now? The next morning, Anna woke with swollen eyes and a heavy heart. The sound of a knock on the door startled her. Who could it be so early? With a mix of curiosity and apprehension, she opened the door, and there he stood, the old man from the supermarket. Anna's heart raced. Was he here to thank her again? To apologize for the trouble she had gotten into? But before she could say a word, the man extended his hand, his eyes filled with both warmth and regret. "I owe you more than an apology," he began, his voice steady yet humble. "You showed kindness when no one else did, and it's time someone showed you the same." As Anna stood frozen, trying to process his words, the man introduced himself, not as the struggling, elderly man she had assumed he was, but as Klaus Fischer, the owner of the entire supermarket chain. Her breath caught in her throat. She couldn't believe it. How could someone so powerful have appeared so vulnerable? Klaus explained that he had been visiting the store incognito to observe the staff and customers. He had seen Anna's act of generosity and had been deeply moved. When he later learned of her dismissal, his initial admiration turned to anger. How could such a selfless employee be treated so harshly? Klaus promised to make things right, not only by reinstating Anna's job, but by promoting her to a supervisory role. "The world needs more people like you in charge," he said with a smile. Anna was stunned. Her mind swirled with questions. Could she handle the responsibility? Was she ready to lead a team? She accepted the offer with a mixture of gratitude and trepidation, knowing this was an opportunity she couldn't pass up. Her first days as a supervisor were a whirlwind of emotions. The staff, many of whom had been her peers just days earlier, now looked to her for guidance. Some were supportive, but others were skeptical, testing her authority at every turn. Anna felt the sting of their doubts, but resolved to prove herself. One particular incident tested her resolve. A customer had a heated argument with one of the cashiers, accusing them of overcharging. As the situation escalated, all eyes turned to Anna. Her hands trembled as she approached, but she drew on her natural empathy and listened carefully to both sides. After calmly resolving the misunderstanding, the customer left satisfied, and the cashier thanked her for stepping in. It was a small victory, but it gave Anna the confidence to keep going. Behind the scenes, Anna worked tirelessly to learn the ins and outs of her new role. She stayed late to review inventory records, sought advice from more experienced supervisors, and even read books on leadership in her rare moments of free time. Every day brought new challenges, but Anna's determination never wavered. However, the promotion came with sacrifices. She had less time for her family, and the pressure of balancing her personal life with her demanding job began to take its toll. Her younger brother, Max, started acting out, frustrated that Anna was no longer as present as she used to be. "You're never home anymore," he complained one evening. Anna felt a pang of guilt, but reminded herself why she was working so hard: to give her family a better life. As Anna navigated her new reality, she couldn't shake the feeling that her life was changing in ways she hadn't anticipated. The kindness she had shown Klaus had set off a domino effect, but the path ahead was far from easy. Still, Anna held on to the hope that her efforts would lead to something greater, for herself and for the people she loved. Little did she know her journey was only beginning, and the challenges she faced now would pale in comparison to what lay ahead. As Anna began to find her footing in her new role, she thought the storm had passed, but life had one more twist in store for her, a revelation that would shake her family to its core. One evening, as she was catching her breath after a particularly grueling day, Anna's mother, Clara, approached her with a somber expression. "Anna, there's something you need to know," she said, her voice trembling. Anna froze, sensing the gravity of what was coming. Clara handed her an old, weathered letter, one that had been hidden in the back of a drawer for years. The letter was from Jos, Anna's father, who had vanished from their lives when she was just a child. Anna's heart pounded as she unfolded the fragile paper, the words staring back at her like ghosts from the past. In the letter, Jos explained why he had left. Contrary to the story Anna had been told all her life, that he had abandoned them out of selfishness, the truth was far more complicated. Jos had been forced to leave to protect the family from a dangerous threat tied to his past. It turned out that Jos had been involved in a legal battle over a family heirloom, a valuable piece of property that had been in their family for generations. When the dispute escalated, Jos had become the target of threats from those who stood to gain from the inheritance. Fearing for his family's safety, he made the heartbreaking decision to leave, believing it was the only way to shield them from harm. Anna's hands shook as she read the letter. Years of anger and resentment toward her father melted into a mix of sadness, confusion, and guilt. "Why didn't you tell me this sooner?" she asked Clara, her voice cracking. Clara looked away, tears streaming down her face. "I thought it was best for you not to know. I didn't want you to carry the burden." The revelation left Anna reeling, but there was no time to dwell on her emotions. Along with the letter came another bombshell. The family heirloom Jos had fought to protect had been unjustly taken, and there was a chance they could get it back. Clara explained that a recent change in property laws had reopened the case, giving them an opportunity to reclaim what was rightfully theirs. The family decided to take legal action, but the road ahead was anything but smooth. The opposing party was powerful, with resources that dwarfed anything Anna's family could muster. Their lawyers were ruthless, determined to keep the inheritance out of Anna's reach. Anna threw herself into the fight with the same determination she had shown in her new job. She spent sleepless nights poring over documents, attending court hearings, and rallying her family to stay strong. The legal battle was draining, both emotionally and financially, but Anna refused to give up. She saw it not only as a chance to reclaim their inheritance, but also as a way to honor her father's sacrifice. One pivotal day in court became the defining moment of the battle. The opposing lawyers presented forged evidence, attempting to discredit Anna's claim. The tension in the courtroom was palpable, and as Anna's family's lawyer rose to refute the lies. With meticulous precision, he exposed the forgery, presenting irrefutable proof that the inheritance had been wrongfully taken. Gasps filled the room as the opposing party's case crumbled before their eyes. As the judge delivered the final ruling in favor of Anna's family, tears streamed down her face. They had won. The heirloom and the legacy it represented was finally theirs again. The courtroom erupted in cheers and hugs as Anna's family celebrated their hard-earned victory. But for Anna, the moment was about more than just winning a legal battle. It was a turning point, a chance to rebuild what had been broken. As she looked at her family, now united and stronger than ever, she realized that the real inheritance was the bond they shared and the strength they found in each other. Her father's absence had left a scar, but the truth had brought healing. Anna felt a newfound sense of purpose, one that extended beyond her job and her personal struggles. She had faced adversity and emerged stronger, ready to take on whatever life threw at her next. Little did she know, this victory was only the beginning of a new chapter in her life. In the end, Anna's journey was about far more than an inheritance. It was about resilience, forgiveness, and the power of kindness to change lives. She reconciled with her father, bringing their family closer than ever. The wounds of the past began to heal, and Anna embraced her new role with confidence and pride. Her story is a testament to the fact that even when life knocks you down, it's possible to rise stronger than before. Anna's small act of generosity set off a chain reaction that transformed her life and the lives of those around her in ways she could never have imagined. And that's Anna's incredible journey, a story of kindness, resilience, and the power of family. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more dramatic tales that touch the heart, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.